up until recently, the United States has been called a melting pot, where people from different places come here and we all kind of melt into this one thing, this American. But recently we've been told that we're more of a salad, where every entity is very different and very distinct. My mom migrated when the United States was called more of a melting pot, so therefore her mentality was more she should become more American. So when we moved here, we were told to be very Americanized, that though we were Mexican, we still had to be as American as possible because we came to this new country. So we had to learn English and do everything very Americanized. Though that was the policy for us, it was never the policy for my mom. My mom is still to this day has been here for 30 plus years and has yet to really understand the American way of life, or just understand the basic necessities of being an American citizen. She's a great woman, but she's a hoot. One of my first experiences with my mom, realizing that my mom wasn't very Americanized and didn't really understand the language. She speaks English, it's kind of broken, but it's a little different, and she doesn't really understand how words work or a lot of the meanings behind them. I remember one time in high school, I came home, my brother and his girlfriend, who were like 5 years older than I was, were cracking up in my mom's room. So I went over there, being the annoying kid I was, to see what they were doing. And they were holding a bottle of lube. And I was kind of grossed out at first, but then I was told that they found it in my mom's room. So then I freaked out even more, and I was even more grossed out. So I don't know how this happened, but my brother convinced me to confront my mom about it. So I confronted her about it. I don't know why I felt the need, like I had the right to even say anything. But come to find out, my mom had gotten a knee replacement a couple months before, and she had been using like Icy Hot on her knee. So she went down the aisle looking for something that said like warming action. So the first thing that she saw in the Walmart aisle that had the words warming action was KY jelly. So needless to say, we're all grossed out. And to this day, she still uses it. She still doesn't understand, even though we've explained it many times, that Icy Hot is so much better. She still buys it, so it's really weird. And this is just like a small story compared to all these crazy stories that my mom shenanigans because of her lack of reading ability. My mom likes to hang out at the park a lot. She's a very outdoorsy type of person. So one time I remember I was in high school and I got a phone call around like 9:30 at night. And my mom hadn't been home. She's like, "Hey, I'm stuck. Can you come get me?" I said, "Where are you stuck?" And she's like, "At the park." And I said, "What do you mean you're stuck at the park? Like in a ditch?" She's like, "No, like they closed the gate." I was like, "What do you mean?" So she tells me where this park's at, and come to find out it's a dog park. So you actually need a permit to get in. So I don't know how she got in the first place. Second of all, she got stuck in the park. We had to call not a whole bunch of different people from the park district so they could come get her out. And she ended up getting a ticket. So she went off on this police officer. She's like, "I was just trying to walk in the park." And they're like, "Ma'am, first of all, you're in the wrong. You need a permit to be here. And two, you don't even have a dog." So they thought my mom was crazy. But it was all because she forgot to read the sign that says the park closed at dusk. And I don't know if she didn't realize that everybody there had a dog and she was the only one that didn't. There's an overwhelming theme with my mom and authority also throughout her life, where I remember specifically, I was 7 years old. I was in the passenger seat, which I probably was definitely not old enough for. And we got pulled over. And my mom just keeps driving. And she's like, "I don't understand why he's not going around me." I was like, "Mom, I think you're getting pulled over." So she like slowly creeps to the side. And before the car even gets in park, she whips her seatbelts off and jumps out of the car. And then starts approaching the police officer like, "What's the problem? What's the problem? I don't understand what I'm doing here. What's the problem?" So my mom's going off on this cop. I specifically remember that this police officer puts his hand on the gun and doesn't pull it out, but he puts his hand on the gun and is like, "Ma'am, I need you to get into the car." So I was arguing with this police officer, and to this day, she still sometimes tries to get out of the car even though they tell her not to. My mom, I was 7-year-old. I could have seen my mom get shot in the leg because she doesn't know how to get pulled over. Another story with authority with my mom was I got a ticket once for selling cigarettes to a minor, and my mom literally fought a police officer, and in the end, I don't know how I ended up getting in trouble for it. The police officer yelled at me for yelling at my mom, even though my mom was physically fighting a police officer. Needless to say, she didn't get in trouble, but she just does not respect authority nor the American way of life, I guess you could say. My mother may not understand how things work in America, even after 30 years of being here, but she makes my life a sitcom, and I'm extremely grateful for it. There is never a dull moment in the Guzman household. If she isn't almost getting tasered by a police officer, she is starting a fire, a paper fire in our sink, even though we clearly own a paper shredder. No matter what, I always tell my mom, welcome to America.